Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Daily Space Weather. I'm your host, Dan, aka smAsho. Thanks for tuning into the Smash News Network. We're starting things out looking at the sun here in 304 angstroms, which has released another coronal mass ejection yesterday, essentially as I forecasted, although it took its time. It happened at about 11 o'clock Universal Time, and if you look in the upper right in this area, you can see the filamentary region from which that coronal mass ejection erupted. Right there is the time of it. You're probably wondering if it's Earth-facing. Well, that's part of the reason why we have a channel. We'll get to it. And to lots more stuff. Stuff such as Hurricane Delta, COVID-19, and how the CDC employs at least one hack, its director. So these spacecraft are located at Lagrange point 1, and this one, Stereo A, is located at Lagrange point 5. Here's a view from Stereo A, a great view of that coronal mass ejection. Earth is indeed off in this direction. Is it Earth-facing or not? That is the question you're probably wondering. Well, the answer is no. So here we are from the view of Lagrange point 1 here at the Discover spacecraft. The SOHO C2 coronagraph, yes. And you can see that is most assuredly looking like it will miss to the west. I don't think the ejecta is fully completed yet, so we could see more ejecta coming off of that. To figure out what it's doing, take a look at Stereo A. It's on the Space Weather the Integrated Space Weather Analysis Center. Here's the view from the C3, and you can again see that almost all of the ejecta appears to be headed out to the west. And if you're wondering, that's the east and that's the west. It's because solar weather rises in the east. It's a heliocentric view of the heliocentric helios. Here's a 94 angstroms view of that active region, which is setting in the northeast. And we've also got a 171 angstroms view of that same region. Good stuff. And let's get on to a whole bunch more data here at the Smash News Network. Yes, the Smash News Network. Where we talk about literally anything. The 10.7 centimeter radial flux still at 72 solar flux units. KP index, a global measurement of geomagnetism, is based. It's the global geomagnetic average, folks. It's been at 1 for the past 21 hours. We don't see any solar flares. We don't see any big-time proton strikes. Here's the real-time solar wind, and we do see an elevated solar wind density, currently around 17.2 protons per cubic centimeter, and a rising solar wind speed, an indication of another coronal hole wind stream. We see this slow dip down in the solar wind density, and a slow uptick in the solar wind speed here. Current solar wind speed 340 kilometers per second or so. Let's look at the magnetosphere. Here's 4 hours of data, courtesy University of Michigan, Geospace Model V1.5. And it's about what you would expect with those conditions. By the way, for you new viewers out there, I am able to guess what the solar wind parameters are just by simply looking at this video. In many ways, it is a visualization of the previous slide. Here are the ground magnetic perturbations, and we show this daily since we're living through a polar excursion. When the geomagnetic poles wander way far away from the geographic poles, yes. The South Pole has left the Antarctic continent. It's in the southern Indian Ocean, someplace south of Australia. And the North Pole has split in two. We've got one over northern Siberia and one over Canada. There's 4 hours of data. Ground magnetic perturbations, delta B, in other words, changes in the Earth's B field, the field that goes through the magnet. Not to be confused with the Z fields, which are the poloidal fields at the magnetic poles. Goes magnetometers looking a little bit smoother here. There's the 3-day chart of that. And let's take a look at the magnetic environment of the heliospheric current sheet. And here is the polarity. You can see the South Pole oriented polarity here in red, North Pole in green. We're not expecting any major changes here. And we expect to remain in the South Pole current sheet for the foreseeable future. Keep in mind the data is 1 hour and 10 minutes old and can suddenly change. And here's a line of sight field plot which shows you the sun's B field in blue. Also happens to be the interplanetary magnetic field. And it also refutes the ridiculous idea that the sun is, quote, made of plasma. Stars are not, quote, made of plasma, end quote. Since that's complete nonsense. Here is the coronal field plot. And we see some changes happening in the South Pole right there at the bottom. The South Pole getting its own little B field there for a moment. So that's something to keep an eye on throughout the day. If you want to find where this is, again, it's on the Integrated Space Weather Analysis Center. Go to Solar, and it's on page 9. The PFSS solar magnetic field. A 3D magnetic structure of the corona. And we've moved on to Smash Lights, a daily segment here at the Smash News Network. It's the part where we talk about whatever we want for a brief period. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Smash Lights. Let's get to it. By the way, we do stream live most days to Twitch. Go check us out over there if you want to see the content before it's uploaded. Twitch.tv/smAsho. The platform is splentacularly wonderful. Now, the main source of content is youtube.com/smAsho. Please take a moment to press like and subscribe, as the video can't continue, and I'm going to have coronavirus just lurking here over my head until you press like and subscribe. So please press like and subscribe. I'm so scared right now. Oh my God. It's taking over my life. It's taking over my soul. It's not really taking over my soul or my life. Oh my God, I'm seeing spots before my eyes. What is happening? You must press like and subscribe on YouTube, and you must press share. You must share with your friends and your foes, your science noobs and your science pros. We've probably got some features for all of them here at the Smash News Network. I guess it's about time for me to deal with you. For you! All right, well, that wasn't so hard. You're becoming very agreeable these days, COVID. And it turns out that my forehead is now made in Jada. Jada. Have you pressed like and subscribe? We'd like to continue with the video. Don't worry, you can pause it. We'll be here when you get back. Just press like and subscribe on YouTube. Maybe even leave us a comment. And don't forget to share on your social media. We're also on BitChute, bitshoot.com/smAsho. And let's talk COVID. Oh my God, I'm so scared and spooked. Are you scared? Are you spooked? Now, yesterday we talked about toxic masculinity. Turns out that men are less likely to mask up. Possibly thanks to illusions of invulnerability, study finds. Do you believe that you're invulnerable? Are you toxically masculine? Are you scared of things that have no reason to be frightening? Yes. I don't know what the case mortality rate is now. Has it dropped down below 0.04%? What a joke. There's a good economic reason for men to mask up too. Mask wearing is the way we get the country back. Anyway, there's an article on USA Today about it if you want to read about how men are less likely to mask up, possibly thanks to illusions of invulnerability. In the new study, authors used observations and GPS data to confirm their survey results, in one such study, researchers observed hundreds of pedestrians and found women wore masks about 58% of the time, while men did so only 42% of the time. Oh my God, men are so scary. Let's talk about a scary man. This hack right here, Robert Redfield. Why do I say he's a hack? Because he sat in front of Congress with a mask in his hand, like a complete COVIDiot, like this, and said, "This is the most useful thing that we have in combating a virus. A surgical mask which viral particles pass right through, the kind of thing that Tom Wolfe might tell you to do too." What a complete COVIDiot. Please resign, Tom Wolfe, and please resign all COVIDiots who are attempting to make public policy, like this particular COVIDiot right here, Robert Redfield. What a douche. Anyway, there's a letter for him on USA Today from this guy here, Bill Fogy. I don't know if he's a fogey or not, but apparently he would like to see Mr. Redfield resign, as would I, because he's an incompetent government bureaucrat who doesn't know his from a hole in the ground. And he can take these masks and he can cram them in that they're utterly ineffective, just like most branches of government. So the CDC is completely useless, and the CDC is directed by Robert Redfield. And we've got a comment. Apparently, I am the one ugly MFer. No, I'm the idiot because I've lost half of my brain. Says, respect Mal Wow 123. Sounds like a complete douche. Hey, respect. Mad respect, Joe. Mad respect. Unlike for Robert Redfield, today's featured COVIDiot. Let's talk about plasma. Now, it's not magic, and it's not the most common state of matter in the universe. It's on the surface of stars. Turns out that there are ways to treat people. Shout out to John Katowski. Therify, yes. 2 articles today on SciTech Daily. This one is about sterilizing medical equipment using plasma. This one is about growing plants using plasma. Experiments involving tomatoes, sorghum, bean seeds show that it affects germination, it affects the texture of the outside of the seed coatings. Super interesting. 2 articles today on SciTech Daily. And again, I'll cite the fact that plasma is not magic. However, it does do some interesting stuff. Respect FEMA LWOW123. Apparently, I'm a douche, according to, hey, why don't you go create some comment? Respect FEMA LWOW123. Get a real name. Learn to write. And we've moved on to a cosmology segment. It's going to be very short. We're going to talk about smashamash.com/forum. Go head over there, set yourself a login. If you'd like a free shirt, we're going to be sending one out in October. We're going to use a random quantum number generator. And don't worry, folks, the design for the shirt is nearly completed. We've run into some delays here in the month of October. And thanks for tuning in to another edition of the Smash Lights, a standard aspect of the daily space weather. Sometimes it's separate, sometimes it's together. Again, don't forget to check us out at youtube.com/smashomash. Check out the playlists, youtube.com/smashomash/playlists. And we loll in the face of troll nabs. Troll nabs like women equals female. It's respect women. Whatever. Let's get back to space data. The electron flux has returned back to a more normal range here, following a lengthy period of electron storm. We don't see any charging hazards anymore. Here at the Smash News Network, we are charged up by stupidity and ignorance. when we dispel stupid people's stupid ideas about smart things. So no real charging hazards. The forecast is for a fairly level electron flux here over the next couple of days. Here's a 3-day chart, and we finally got out of warning level. We spent a solid week in electron warning, causing things like GPS errors and satellite drag. Here is a visualization of the total electron content, looking at the whole air column from the thermosphere all the way down to the ground where your GPS handset would be located. That should give you some idea. And some major GPS errors still continuing, although those should lessen over the past day or so. Over the next day or so, rather. And here is just one layer of that, just the ionosphere. It's looking a little anomalous here. Heavily charged up at nighttime here in the South Pacific. So a sudden charge up discharge there at nighttime in the South Pacific, that's a little abnormal. And we have entered into Northern Hemisphere autumn and Southern Hemisphere spring. So you're going to see those charge up blobs south of the equator now. There's the current image, and that's looking pretty normal here, except for this spot here south of Hawaii. Let me get Robert Redfield's stupid-looking initials off of the screen. You're welcome for getting his stupid-looking face off of the screen. I wish he'd get his stupid-looking face out of the CDC, another incompetent government agency. Here's what's going on above my head. I like to use in-the-sky.org. If you're up before dawn, you may see Venus. And if you know about Orion's belt, the middle star points perpendicularly to today's featured star. Betelgeuse, Betelgeuse, Betelgeuse. Say it 3 times, it won't summon demons. ThePlanetsToday.com is telling me that there's where planets are located in the solar system. There's where things will be in a week, approaching another new moon. And by the way, October is a blue moon month. We'll see a Halloween full moon for the second full moon of October. Next, looking at earthquakes of the past 24, the largest was this 6.0 at Fiji, which came in at 10:11 yesterday, Universal Time. That's 10:11 a.m. Universal Time, Greenwich Mean Time. And it was a very deep quake, not as much deeper than this one at Indonesia, which was a 5.0 magnitude at 101 kilometers. That 6.0 came in at over 620 kilometers depth. That would be practically a magnitude 8 earthquake if it happened at the surface. It would be a tsunami risk. Here's the location of it. Just to the east of Fiji. Anyway, scrolling up the list here, we'll cite anything out of the ordinary or large. And certainly this one down here by the Shetland Islands is out of the ordinary. It's so far south, it's on the Antarctican plate boundary. It's on a fault line there in the Antarctican plate, actually. Here's an interesting one in California. It's nearly a kilometer above sea level. Here's a deep quake at Tajikistan. It's a 4.1 magnitude. Deep quake at Japan there, 4.6 magnitude at nearly 300 kilometers depth. A deep quake at the Solomon Islands. That one's a 4.8 magnitude at 156 kilometers. So a bit of a deep earthquake event here, and also a 4.5 at Indonesia at depth. Volcanoes, here at volcanodiscovery.com, Kadavar still erupting. Flight level 060 there. As it explodes, it's producing a 6,000-foot plume of ash. Popocatépetl, which is the volcano that I would most like to visit, is exploding as well. 21,000-foot ash plume there. Effusive explosive eruption at Sangay. 21,000-foot ash plume there. Yowzers. Revenador exploding, flight level 150, 15,000 feet. And while we're unable to detect whether or not there is a volcanic ash plume emanating from Sabancaya in Peru, please do not attempt to build a campsite on the lower slopes. You could end up part of a pyroclastic flow, which would be a bad day for you. Here's a weather.gov map. Nothing too exciting happening there except some hurricane warnings in the Gulf. We'll get to it in a minute. Here's the jet stream scenario for the Western world. And check out these extreme meridional jet stream kinks down here. Not to mention this area here, blowing some cold air down toward Cuba and causing continued lightning strikes. In the Caribbean region, here are the jets of the Eastern world. And it's still blowing backwards over the western Pacific and the entire Indian Ocean, blowing east to west. Not normal. Now here's the Tropical Tidbits total accumulated precipitation forecast here. And actually that hurricane remnant is expected to make it all the way up to Pennsylvania. Now, for you new viewers, I'm located right about here in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania. And we're now getting a forecast for like over 3 inches of rain, 3 inches of rain or so here from that remnant. And some very heavy rain forecasted in southern Louisiana there. 14 inches maybe, 16 inches perhaps. And that forecast there is through Monday, October 12th of next week. There's the track of that system. It's going to go right up the East Coast according to this. Right straight up land, right to Maine. Keep in mind, 3-day forecasts are much more accurate, folks. That's at tropicaltidbits.com. Shout out to our African and European viewers. There are your water vapor maps. Shout out to our viewers from the Far East and from Oceania. Leave us a comment if you're viewing from the Orient. Also, shout out to our viewers from Munda. There are your water vapor maps. Here are pressure maps. This is from windy.com, who, by the way, has a wonderful mobile app. I like it better, if not more. I like it as much, if not more, than the desktop version. We're going to pause this at about 12 noon tomorrow. There's where we expect things to be at noontime tomorrow. Powerful low-pressure system there over Nova Scotia. Or is it Newfoundland? Anyway, the Jake Tapper anticyclone is no more. The Jake Tapper anticyclone has broken to bits, almost like the credibility of CNN. Here's lightningmaps.org. I like to use lightningmaps.org when I hear thunder. Convince your friends and your foes that you're some sort of Viking god by forecasting thunder. So lots of thunder over the Caribbean there, over Mexico, Central America, etc. Here's the NASA GOES 16 lightning mapper. Heavy lightning there in the Gulf. And south of Cuba, as we've seen for quite a while here. The last several days. Some heavy lightning there east of Lake Okeechobee there on Florida also. Here's the U.S. Doppler radar map. As we get into value-added services, it's time to go check the life of the stream and see if we got any more ridiculous and silly comments, which we won't display on the screen. Somebody's informed me that women equals female. I think they may be mentally challenged. Next, looking at the cloud layer. And there's what's going on in the cloud layer. And we do show the NASA GOES shortwave satellite animations typically because we typically do our daily space weather videos while it is dark. It makes sense, doesn't it? Yes, yes. I stare at the sun at nighttime. That makes a lot of sense, right? Anyway, there's the water vapor situation. Let's zoom in on the Gulf. As we have a massive dry air strip going all the way across the country right now, which is going to confine this thing and make this turn to the east a little bit. Let's shrink it down. There we go. And there you can see the timestamps as well. Don't go nowhere. We're about to thank our patrons. Thanks to our patrons and our latest patron from this month. We greatly appreciate your support. You're the real source of funding for the content. Please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/smashamash. We update the credit crawl on the 2nd of every month. Patreon.com/smashamash. You'll get the earliest warnings and so on, as well as other media. There are currently 9 tiers. Please join at a tier $3 a month or higher, as we're eliminating the $1 and $2 tiers by the end of the year. Also, check out smashamash.com. You can visit all of our affiliate link, our forum, and our 2 Teespring stores. By the way, Smash staff enjoyed her birthday yesterday. Thanks for all the birthday wishes. She wore her Smash shirt color. Smasher price, my first pandemic. I survived a global pandemic, and all I got was this lousy t-shirt. Thanks to the Smash team. Please don't forget to share on your social media. If you'd like to join the Smash team, again, head to smashamash.org. You get links. And perhaps you'd like to pick up this golden gold shirt, a golden gold shirt. Thanks again to the Smash team. Thanks for flying American Smashways. Now that I've vanished, I would remind you to please keep your head and arms inside the Smash plane at all times, since we've got the bonus features. We're going to show you the 335 angstroms 48-hour SDO video. We're going to show you a colorized magnetogram where we may see a sunspot forming. Oh, yes. So this area down here, this has suddenly popped up here. Let's take a close-up. And I don't think that has got the magnetic intensity to be a sunspot yet, but if you're going to keep an eye on some spot, well, the pun's intentional. Keep an eye on that spot. That's a pretty magnetically intense spot, although not intense enough yet to produce a sunspot. So here's the 335 angstroms view. It's 48 hours. This will include the coronal mass ejection. Whether or not it will show you much remains to be seen, as I haven't looked at this view yet myself. It's part of the reason we do the videos live. It's because, well, they are reaction videos in some ways, I guess you could say. Again, if you want to look up that coronal mass ejection, that occurred around 11 o'clock Universal Time yesterday on October 6th. And it came out of the northwestern limb. And you can see a little bit of brightening up there as the coronal mass ejection happens in this wavelength. The 335 angstroms wavelength is another one of the ionized states of iron. Hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in. It's about that time. Remember, stare at the sun, don't drink it. If you do, don't drive. And since it'll never be now again, may that solar wind be at your back and that COVID-19 absent from all government agencies and wherever you are located. Here comes the coronal mass ejection. Right there is when it happened. Did you know that coronavirus tastes like pancakes? Yes. It tastes just like Aunt Jemima syrup